Knock at the Cabin is a 2023 American apocalyptic psychological horror film written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who wrote the screenplay from an initial draft by Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman. It is based on the 2018 novel The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul G. Tremblay, the first adaptation of one of his works. The film stars Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, Kristen Cui, Nikki Amuka-Bird, Abby Quinn, and Rupert Grint. In the film, a family vacationing at a remote cabin are suddenly held hostage by four strangers who demand something unimaginable. Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T. And something unimaginable? I couldn't imagine sitting through this film for another minute. The movie got some favorable reviews, 67% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which goes to show that rating system, that website, whatever, is horseshit. It doesn't mean that this movie is good. I read some of the comments for the trailer of it, and people are honestly praising this movie. I'm not saying that you can't like the movie. Some people like it. Some people like this style of filmmaking. M. Night Shyamalan, I gotta tell you, he has turned into a joke. And he has lost his touch a long time ago. When he's producing, writing something, and someone else directs it like that, and especially in recent years, it's better. Because after Signs and The Sixth Sense, he fell off. I was waiting for a twist at the end. That's the only reason why I watched this movie. I almost walked away. You know? And I'm just like, okay, that's what's gonna keep. Maybe that's his way of making people stay for the movies now. Is that people are gonna expect a twist, whether it be bad or good. Maybe it's a good thing he didn't, because then I would have totally said he was a hack, because he's just gonna keep. And that's what he did with these films after Sixth Sense and Signs. Is that okay? I'm just gonna keep doing the twist thing, even if it doesn't make sense. And a lot of things in this movie made no sense. I got some notes here, and I'm gonna go through them. And this thing might not last long. This video might not last long. Those of you who liked it, I'm not calling you out. I'm not saying you guys don't have taste in films. If you liked it, you liked it. I like films that people don't like, and people I know like films that I don't like. It doesn't make it. No one's right. No one is more of an expert on film than anybody else. It's personal taste. It's their opinion that they like the movie or not like the movie. But let's talk about the whole thing with the plague thing. Every time they say no, Eric and Andrew, because they're presented with the situation that one of them must die, one of them must be sacrificed in order for the world to not come to an end. Every time they say no, someone dies. The first one to die was Rupert Grint. Old Ron Weasley himself from Harry Potter films. And then we see the next girl. What's her name? Adrian, right? Abby Quinn. She dies. Then Nikki Amuka-Bird as Sabrina, she gets shot and killed by Eric. And then Batista's character Leonard stabs her in the head. Like, she's dead already. Why did he have to do that? That's the only way to unleash the plague, is to stab her, or what he did, totally just smashed her in the head. And then I was thinking, like, okay, so what's gonna happen when it's down to Batista? Is he gonna kill himself? And that he does. He gives them one more chance. You guys have to accept this. You must sacrifice somebody. Oh, okay. No, nobody? All right. And then he slits his throat. And then that puts Eric and Andrew in a situation where they declare their love for each other and they realize that the situation is dire and one of them must go on. And Andrew's like, oh, I picture you and when their daughter grown and she's locking up her practice, you're headed out the door and into the car, and she still has that laugh, that giggle of hers, and all this stuff. And then Eric is killed. I mean, Eric kills Andrew. Then all of a sudden, the cabin's hit with fire or something, almost like looks like fire and brimstone, right? And then they escape and they find the visitors' vehicles. They see all their belongings that corroborates their individual stories. And then they go and to this restaurant, whatever. They watch the news. All these disasters have subsided. The last one was what, all those 700 planes crashing into the ground with no reason. That's the only time that something happened. Spontaneously, like right then and there. Like, it's like every time that happens, it's funny because they put on the TV and the first one, oh, 4 hours prior, this thing happened. I'm thinking they could have easily have used that knowledge to pretend that there's a plague, and then the other ones, same thing, prior knowledge. How even the guy Eric, I can't blame him. Even I'm saying, like, how the hell can you convince somebody that you guys are there to prevent a thing, and every time somebody gets killed, a plague happens when it's already happened. You know, and and so they end up driving off, and the radio plays Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band, which was something that they played on their way to the cabin in a cringy ass, part. Even the little girl was like, "Whoa, this song is on." How the hell did she know the song when it's like 1970s that song came out? I mean, she could have known. Her parents could have told her, but it didn't. It wasn't believable. I fast forwarded that part because it was just cringy. I hate when people sing in movies. It's just, sometimes to me it's annoying. It is. And then that comes on, and then he turns it off. Oh no, it reminds me of good times. She turns it back on, and then and then she turns it off, and then he turns it back on, and then they play it. And I'm like this, you better not sing. I'm like, you better not start singing like everything's okay now. It is, because they thwarted the apocalypse and the end of the world. You know. Well, let's get back into the thing that I was talking about. The notes that I have. The flashbacks that they have. Every time there's some certain situation, they flash back to something that went on in their life, and it had nothing to do with what was going on. I could be wrong, but at the same time, it just didn't fit. You know? I was actually going to say to myself, before it happened, I said, when they flashed back, how come they didn't flash back to when Rupert Grint's character attacked Eric in the thing? And that's why Eric thinks that these guys are not, people who are there to stop the apocalypse, but they're there to help Rupert Grint's character, Redmond, finish off Eric or give him more payback. They didn't go back to that, but they did go back to that later on. So at least they did that, but they flashed back at the wrong moment. Like when he kills that girl, Sabrina, they flash back to that because he has a bad temper, so they're gonna look at that because he actually told Redmond, as Redmond says, "Can you guys stop talking or knock it off? I'm trying to drink with my buddies." That's what Redmond's character said, and then he doesn't do anything. All he says is, "Will you guys just go over there and stop bothering us?" Something like that. Why? How does that have anything to do with his anger issues when it was Redmond that hit him over the head with a beer bottle? Not only once, but twice. I think 3 times. Puts him in the hospital, and then Redmond, when they were like introducing themselves, he said, "Oh, I spent time in prison and or spent time in jail," and that's the reason why he spent time in jail, because he got arrested for attacking Eric. But Then Dave Batista. I was a fan of his in his pro wrestling days. I love him in Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax the Destroyer. But the one thing I note about him, dude, is that he over emotes when he acts. I think that he's really a bad actor in the things that he has been in, except for movies where they actually go with his strengths and not his weaknesses. You know, every time he tries to evoke an emotion, he starts, blubbering, and then he starts, you know, like this and stuff. And I'm going, that's not acting. You're just trying to be dramatic in that part. Like, what was the name of this last film that I watched of his? Army of the Dead. And there's that one scene when he was with his girlfriend or that girl, and they are trying to establish their relationship or establish where they're at. And he's crying, and I'm like, I don't care. You know? But he's saying bad. But, man. And there's people in comments on the trailer that I watched, you know, that they're saying that, oh, he's great at emoting. He's great at this. And no, he's not. No, he's not. Even when he's pretending to be all full of emotion and anger, like when he was doing his retirement thing, or when he said that I quit, like 2010 in wrestling, when he's in the middle of the WWE ring there, it was overacting. You know, he's great at action. He's great at comedy. As Drax, when he does those funny parts, it's great. It's because it's his strength. You know, but they're trying to carry, have him carry this movie. He is the star of this film. Like I said, he's better in ensembles like Guardians, man, and not the lead. Uh, but he's the biggest star in this film. I mean, I don't know who these other people are, but he's the biggest star here, so I guess he's the one that's supposed to carry the film. But let's move on, man. Like, here's the thing about what happened with Eric, right? He said all along that they planned everything, that they wanted to target them because, of course, they are same-sex parents. They went to, I believe it was China, that they picked up when she was a baby, and she had a cleft lip, and they talked about her having a surgery. Her and Batista showed up. They talked, and he asked about the surgery. She said, "Oh, I had a lot of surgeries to fix that." And right away, I knew that was like a cleft lip thing. I've seen videos of that, and I've seen things that in regards to that, and it's really great when you can do that and give these children their smiles back. It's a beautiful thing, you know. And that was in the beginning. It was talked about, and we saw it when she was in a flashback, and you saw her as a baby when he went to pick her up and everything. So he was all saying, you know, that, and then when Andrew goes, "Are you sure that? Do you believe that this was? You don't believe that this was a coincidence, or do you believe it's a coincidence?" He's like, "Yes, I believe it's a coincidence, or it's some great trick, or it's a trick, or something like that." And I'm thinking, like, if you think that, I thought you said that they planned it, like they came and willingly did it, instead of now you're saying it's a coincidence. Yeah, I believe it's a coincidence. You know, the last one when they saw it, when Batista, Leonard was voicing what the woman's about to say, the newscaster, because I guess that was in his vision. He knew that that's what she was going to say, because it was all coming true, but it was too late by then. That's actually a good part. That's actually the thing that I'm like going, okay, it proves that he's actually telling the truth. But it's like, this movie really, I don't know. After he said that, Eric said, I'm like, what the f, what the fuck, like this is some horrible writing and really some inconsistent BS. It's like the writing, I don't know, man. M. Night Shyamalan is a good writer. Did he write this? I know he directed it. I don't know if I saw it, if he wrote it, but it's like it's all over the place. What was this movie was trying to do? It's the post-apocalyptic thing. It's very clever, the premise and everything. The fact that at the end, when he explained what individually their roles were, and then in the end, Andrew said that they were or maybe it was Eric, but they came to the realization that they were the horsemen of the apocalypse, the four horsemen. And it's like, where did that come from? Like, why, this movie does not make any sense. And I know people are going to watch this video and go, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just complaining about nothing. Just watch the movie. I am the advocate for that. That to leave your brain at the door and watch a movie. But when a movie doesn't make any sense, I'm not going to go like, oh, well, I'm just going to leave my brain at the door and watch it. It still has to make some sort of sense. You know? This thing was all over the place. Every time, the one thing that really killed me too is the fact that when they attack, like when Sabrina was trying to attack Eric as he went to the car, right, to get his gun. This was following the whole thing of when she wants to cause us the distraction so that Eric can get out of there and go to the car. All of a sudden she starts screaming that she wants her TV show to be played, she wants her teddy bear, whatever it was. And it was so like from 0 to 100. Instead of her going, ah, and then we're looking at her, what's wrong, when? Ah, ah, I want my doll, I want my, she's like this, I want my doll, I want my, and I'm like going, what the hell is she doing? Like, just like that, it's like that, like just right there. It didn't look natural. Now, I know it's not a natural thing because he's trying to distract them, but it was really grating, like, you know what I mean? And then he goes to the thing, and then when Sabrina goes to, to attack him, she attacks him first, injures his leg, and then, we're here to care for you. Let me care for you. We got a triage. We can set up a triage. Like, one moment they're like vicious, violent, and then the next moment they're like this. And sometimes it might make sense, but it didn't make sense. The way they set it up, the way they filmed it, the way they, it was like, what is going on here? You're nice to one moment, and then next moment you're trying to kill him, and then you're trying to be aggressive and violent, and then you're like caring and nurturing. I'm sorry, but when I was watching this movie, I wanted all of them to die. That's how much I didn't care about any of these characters. I'm just like, what? Who cares? This movie, I don't know, man. I don't know if I even want to continue. But like I said, man, M. Night Shyamalan has lost his touch. He's a joke of a director now. If he wrote this, he's a joke of a writer too. I don't know what he's trying to do. He was trying to be clever with this. If he was trying to be, talk about over emoting. Everybody in here did. Everybody overacted. I don't think that there was one performance that was convincing. I don't know. I'm very overly negative in this video, and if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry, but this is my opinion, and it's my thing that I didn't like this movie. That's 2 for 2 for Batista's. The last movie I watched, Army of the Dead, I believe that was the name of the movie. Didn't like it. This movie, another one. Maybe I'll try Batista one more time. If he strikes out, I'm done. I'm done watching any of his films. Yeah, he's already filmed his last Guardian of the Galaxy film. He's not playing Drax anymore, so there you go. He's gonna leave the role probably the one role that I like of his. Yeah. Is there any like a positive that I can think that maybe that the movie ended? Maybe that's a positive, Like I said, if you like this movie, what do you call it? Good for you. I can see why some people might like this type of a movie. I like a type of movie like this, but the fact of the matter is that the writing's bad, the acting's bad, the pacing and the plot lines and the story really was all over the place. They were trying to go for something and they totally just struck out at the bat. They didn't even get a line drive at the bat. It is struck out. And that's all I'm going to say or even focus on this movie anymore. So for those of you who stopped by and checked out this video, I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And in closing, as always, take care.